All right, welcome everybody to the NWO Show, your source for everything New World. Excited to be here on yet another Tuesday, going into an interesting night of news. Right off the break,
yes,
the breaking news is that all character creation is paused on all servers, on all regions, temporarily, as they were addressing a major bug. We can't give the details of that bug, but we can tell you that it's major enough for them to stop any new player from creating an account, or for creating any new characters. That's not a good thing, I'll tell you that much.
I think that because there's been some degree of there's been some degree of obviously people speculating as to why this might be, like why they might be doing this kind of thing. A lot of it is stemming around the idea of, well, if you stop character creation, then you know bots can't be created, and gold sellers can't create new gold seller accounts and stuff like that. Like, it's not that. Like, unfortunately, it's not that. But then again, like, do you really want that? Because essentially what that would mean is, you can't create a character, nobody can create a character, and this will go on until we feel like the problem's been solved, which would not solve the problem. So, I'm kind of glad, I'm fairly certain that it's not that. Despite people out there essentially saying that it's because of bots. It's not because of bots.
Correct. It is not because of bots. At least not that we know of, based on the information that we have. It has to do with a specific issue and major exploit. It can't be understood.
It would be massively out of character for Amazon Games to be doing this just to prevent bots, for example. Yes. Like, every single time that they've disabled some aspect of the game, amongst all regions and all servers, it's been down to a specific bug, whether it's like, gold duping or item duping or something like that, right? So, doing it to prevent bot creation would be really weird. Yeah. Absolutely. Super out of character.
Absolutely. Apologies, I'm trying to quickly grab something.
That's all right. By the way, if you guys hadn't seen our show last week, we covered basically how the Winter Convergence is being extended to the 25th of January. So, that kind of stuff is carrying on until pretty much near the end of January. We feel that because they are finishing that on the 25th of January, that chances are there might be a patch on the 25th of Jan. So if you guys are wondering when the next patch is, we can be fairly certain that there's going to be one on the 25th of Jan. That might well be when they bring in certain things from that's on the PTR right now. Potentially the mutators and the 625 gear score stuff. Last week we did a community reaction stuff and our reactions to, how the PTR patch has been, been received by the community. We also obviously discussed general community discontent with the game, with the various different bugs and various different combat kind of balance changes and stuff like that, the clunkiness and all that kind of jazz. We updated people on the 1.2.2 patch because that happened literally as the show was going. And obviously we talked about the bow jump animation cancelling, and actually spun out a separate video specifically about that, from that particular show that you may have seen or may not have seen, that was on our YouTube. So that's what happened last week. Yeah, and shall we crack into what's been happening?
Since then, we actually got a whole bunch of crap about our take on the changes to the bow.
Well, sort of and sort of not. Like you know how it is. Like there's people who like to have are very loud in terms of their opinions on stuff, right? We had a few people who are very loud on their opinions who were very much anti what we were saying. I don't know. Like, what was your take on that?
So here's the thing: all the people that were super anti our assessment of the bow nerf also happen to all be bow mains. So, you know,
but the thing is, like,
maybe hop off that high horse and take a look at it from a neutral perspective. Like,
yeah, well,
shit was broken.
I get that, because if you're playing bow, then you probably know a lot about, like, you know, the gameplay style and, you know, the movement style and all that jazz, right? But if you're asking somebody to, you know, go and mainline bow for a long period of time, you know, maybe take your own advice and maybe don't play bow for a little while, so you can also get a bit of a, you know, balanced perspective on things. But if your argument against what we say is essentially, no, I want to have the ability to fire rapid fire, you know, rapid fire arrows at a blistering pace, right? But I also want to have those arrows do ridiculously huge alpha, then I'm sorry, you will lose me as, you know, somebody who sees your perspective, because your perspective is completely ludicrous.
Absolutely.
I get wanting to have a high rate of fire, because that's kind of what I want the boat to have as well. But if you have a high rate of fire, you're not going to have a high alpha.
Yeah. You get one or the other. High alpha,
yeah, exactly.
high rate of fire. Like,
it's one or the other, man. Like, choose.
You don't get both. Like, binary choice.
That's how balance works. That's how balance works. Otherwise, you just end up with an entire game with everybody just using a bow, because that's the, you know, that's the meta weapon, right?
Absolutely. So diving into our first topic, for those that don't know, New World picked up a new community manager. On the community team, they added Shadow Fox. And Shadow Fox is very chatty. Like,
yeah, Shadow Fox has been very social.
Yes.
You know, so one of the things that we do when we prep for the show, like, you know, days in advance sort of thing, is we look at the replies, the dev replies on the forums, and it's literally like scroll. Oh, it's Shadow Fox, scroll. Is there anyone else who's going to say anything? Like, yeah, and it's just yeah. I'm not saying anything bad in any way, shape, or form. I'm glad that Shadow Fox is being very social on the forums. It's just it takes a while to scroll through in order to actually find, you know, other devs kind of saying other things and you know, finding interesting sort of topics to discuss as well. But I'm glad that Shadow Fox is introducing themselves to the general audience of New World.
So some statistics on this as well, to give people an idea of how much this new community manager is out there talking with people.
Oh, I'm sure you would have had statistics, of course.
In the 3 days that they've been active on the forums, they have created 117 posts. Alexandra is still on the forums as well.
Oh my god,
she still posts a good amount, but this was something to note. Jesus. Because it, like, you know, I've got a server that tracks like all of the dev posts that happen on the thing, and like, you know, so that I can catalog everything. And like, there's a reason that most of the time when news drops, I'm the one that has the pinned post on Reddit, and it's not just because I'm deleting the other ones. It's because like I beat you to it, and it's because I have a lot of automation. You know, if you want to see a part of that automation, join the Discord, and you'll be one of the first people to know when anything happens. Because we have, by the way, I just want to automated.
I just want to make sure that people know that, like, you didn't say not just because I delete the posts, but you said not because I delete the posts. There's a big difference between that. You know, one is actually, you know, you being abusive with your powers and you just doing your role.
So here's the thing.
So
back during launch, I was trying to get something out because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was trying to get it out. I posted it up. I pinned it, and then I just deleted everything else without checking timestamps. Like, because I was tired. I was the last mod on for the night, and I was going to bed. My bad. You know what? Like, and I still get shit over that today. Like, still, that is still a consistent thing, and I haven't done it since. Now,
I just wanted to clear something up because you said it so fast.
Shit, like,
I just wanted to clear it up because I realized what you said, and I realized how easily somebody could have just mentally added that other word in there, right?
Yep.
Just to be sure, like you don't delete posts of people just to get the pinned post of various different things, right? Yeah. You don't do that.
Also, like, I'll take credit for when I'm wrong, like, and I was wrong doing that. My bad. That said, if you ever want to know, like, for sure, if the mod mail, like, because like when you get mod mail back from a subreddit, it comes back as the subreddit with no username attached. If you ever want to know if it's me, I'll be the guy that says, "I'm sorry you feel you deserve an apology." That's my go-to for, like, I'm giving you an apology, but I'm also not. Because, like, if you follow the sentence, I'm definitely not. Like,
I'm sorry you feel you've been wronged, but, like, if you look at the actual rules, you breached one of them.
Oh yeah. So anyways, felt this was a worthwhile shout out for Shadow Fox. Solid add to the community team, and excited to see them continue to engage with the community. From here,
yes,
we have some PTR changes, and
yes,
not only do we have some changes,
right,
but we have a lot of really good ones, like ones that could really balance some stuff, and ones that, if you've been watching this show for multiple weeks, look really familiar to things that we've suggested. So let's take a look here.
Mm-hmm.
As I slowly figure out how to change the scene.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
My stream tech gives an error code.
Yeah.
There we go.
I don't know about that, but there we go.
That's how that works. Stream Deck failed me. I had to actually, like, set it up. So PTR backstories. There's some good stuff. They basically made the playtester bags significantly larger, so you can store more stuff. Playtester gear containers, have had their weight removed. Basically, don't open all the containers still. Like, they're overpopulating with unnecessary items. Stop doing that. Like, you can still cause problems.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and they've added some stuff to the actual backstory kind of like gear that you have. Like, one of the things that I believe they've added is obviously to the the various different bags that you can open up for various different things, is they've also added like max trophies as well. So if you're trying to test, that's one of the things, like if you're trying to test like end level like crafting, for example, right, one of the things that you need in order to be able to fully test end game crafting is you need the trophies, because like it's not a case of just having the skills to be able to create those trophies. For you to just create the trophies, you need the very kind of rare drops and the materials in order to craft those trophies, and you're not going to get them at least fast in any way, shape or form playing the PTR. So just having AGS give you the trophies is, a very big and very, it's a very welcome change to testing things out on the PTR.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
so the other thing that's going to make life a little bit easier, we're not guaranteed that these are going to be on the live server, but the hope is that they will be as well, is that they're adding new fast travel shrines next to all of the expeditions. So, Amarin, Shattered Obelisk, like basically making it real easy for people to get to them.
And obviously the Vial of Azoth actually give you Azoth, other than just trolling you. Because, if you've jumped, from shrine to shrine to shrine to shrine, like eventually you'll, like, without doing other things that you would normally do on a regular, on the regular kind of thing, day to day, to give you Azoth, like eventually you'll run out of Azoth and you'll need to, replenish it. And if the playtest of Vial of Azoth just troll you by not giving you Azoth, then it's kind of a bit sucky, right? So, the actual Azoth vials are going to give you Azoth now, so you can carry on jumping to and from different shrines, which is nice.
So some changes. Expedition AI that made the Blighted Greenskeeper a little bit easier to see what he's actually doing, which is a thankful addition for anybody who knows that. So world PTR fixes and additions. We're going to kind of bounce through these relatively quick because some of them are good, but some of them are just kind of things that happened.
Some of them are just they're just real quick fixes for something very small, like Festering 2.
Yeah, Festering 2 still allow player to be healed for 20 stacks. Like,
fair enough.
Fair enough. I feel like that was supposed to be what it was anyways. So, fixed an issue where players can avoid the starting line of Dynasty Shipyard. Basically, there was a small instance where you could actually walk into the expedition area without being in the expedition.
Yeah.
So there's some funny stuff like that.
Yeah. Counted, so they fixed some of those issues. A negative mutator score, which was interesting because that just shows. I mean, it's comical getting a negative mutator score like after a mutated expedition, but I imagine that's probably not what they that they want to have. And obviously the something specifically about empowered buffs. In mutated expeditions, they've made sure that the AA does not gain benefits of that.
Yes, one of the big ones fixed an issue where players were able to go AFK in Outpost Rush and avoid being kicked. That's a big one. That's an awkward and aggravating one. And I think there's some other smaller ones you guys can read through on your own. They fixed some of the bugs in some of the quests. And let's dive into the Outpost Rush game mode changes. These, I think, like for me, like this is one of the primary things that I play. So like when I am online, I'm playing Outpost Rush, or I'm trying to craft something and get my green gypsum somewhere.
Or you're screaming into my ear why Outpost Rush isn't starting. And that I should join Outpost Rush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Typically, that's what's happening.
Yes. There's 6 people in queue, and I need to wait 90 minutes to get into a match. And I will let people know how I feel about it.
McLeod, join Outpost Rush. Oh, for fuck's sake.
The funny thing is, it's never when we're like even close to starting. So some fixes that are coming. They increase the Azoth cost for brute tokens from 500 to 750 Azoth, which anybody who's done like what I refer to as the housekeeper role, when it comes to building up your main base, doing the NPCs and gathering stuff, like 750 Azoth is something that you acquire relatively quickly. Anyways, so 500, in the course of a normal round, I would consistently be getting 2 brutes and enough for however much food and pots that I want, because I can do whatever I want at that point. Like, so summoning stones are now dropped on death. This is a big one. Like, this is an absolute big one. Double brutes, 1 for each side of the base. Clarifying that one up.
Typically. Oh, right, okay.
Makes it real hard for people to sneak into your base and take anything. The change here from 500 to 750 doesn't really doesn't add a ton of time, but it adds, because of the small amount of time enough. It's going to make you make the decision between, do I stay here or do I go for Baron? Like, that's a decision that's true. More likely going to be made based on the amount that you've got to gather.
I think if you're running housekeeping, though, I think pushing it to 750 Azoth for a brute probably puts it to the point where you're not double fisting 2 brutes onto one, on one of your outposts, but you're probably putting down 1 rather than 2.
Yeah,
and that may be just enough, because then obviously you're going to be going out and potentially getting the second brute, but at least it means that if you're doing the housekeeping kind of thing, you're not coming back to the base and just dropping 2 brutes either side of the base straight away.
Can we agree that no one should ever spawn a wraith? Can everybody just be cool with that? As the guy who's constantly spawning brutes and bears, let the people who actually seem to know what to spawn stuff. Unless you're putting it as a forward attacking thing on their base. Otherwise just don't place any summoning stones. Don't place summoning stones unless you really know what you're doing. Because there's a good and a bad way to do it. I know it's go to the thing, turn it on, but positioning is key.
The other thing is, I don't think you can't upgrade what's there already. So if someone's put down a wraith, then you can't drop a brute on it at the same time. You have to wait for that to die.
I kind of wish that they would not do that. I kind of wish that there was an ability to be you know what, I'm done with one that's there, just let me put in another.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Although that would also mean that there's a chance that people who are just would like to watch the world burn would come to the location that you have the brute and just spawn a wraith and completely screw over your brute entirely.
Yes. That's your moment for the people who like spawning wraiths. Go spawn wraiths on their base, so that they can't put brutes on there without killing the wraiths.
And
their homekeeper guy gets fucked over all the time. Go do that. That's a forward attacking item, not a large defense item that requires 40% of the team to kill.
See, I kind of actually, I do kind of like that idea, that sort of that sort of strat being an offensive strat to actually use up their they use up their summoning stone for something that's way underpowered. What I was kind of thinking, to prevent the, someone coming in and overriding your brute by spawning a wraith in, is maybe you could upgrade it by just you could go up in power but not down in power. But I actually do kind of like that idea of using it as an offensive tool.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually, I think I'd actually prefer that to having whatever you spawn there only go up in power.
Yes, I can tell you that as the person who does the housekeeping role, if you spawn a wraith, I'm going to follow you for the rest of the match. Screw winning. My job is now to screw with you because you've screwed me. Yeah. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of other changes here. Summoning stones also now have a rarity associated with them. Epic for the bear and wraith tokens, legendary for the brute tokens, so that when the bag drops, via the they now drop on death. The bag will glow the appropriate color, so hey, I just killed a dude with a brute stone. Like I need to get that, and I need to get out of this fight.
You do realize, right, that there's going to be people who have completely not seen the patch notes and all that kind of stuff, and at some point when these changes go live, people are going to literally like see that happen and be like, oh my god, the guy just dropped a legendary item, and like expect it to be like I don't know, an armor piece or a weapon or something like that, and be like, oh, it's just a brute token.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice thing, but like I imagine that people are going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake, just a brute token. Okay.
Yes. So some of the other things that, again, from the perspective, like, saying this multiple times, I play the housekeeper role. Like, that's my shit. So, like, these are things that directly impact my ability to help build our base when we're playing Outpost Rush. So that's the perspective that I'm bringing with these changes. So Outpost Rush, the Alpha Wolf will no longer summon minions. This means that you are going to get 50 less Azoth by doing your standard run across, and that is meaningful, because for those that don't know, the Alpha Wolf spawns behind your base, which there's actually a sizable amount of people that don't understand that there's actually things behind your base.
Oh yeah, I've done it a few times. Like the funny thing is, like if you're very recently level 60 and you're like, oh right, I'm now level 60, I can go and do Outpost Rush. Like at that point, I mean the Alpha Wolf might be a little bit of a challenge to kind of get through with obviously with the minions that spawn. But obviously now without the minions, it's going to be fairly easy to take out, to be honest.
If you had near 600 gear score, like it was a cakewalk to begin with. Now you're not coming out of the woods with any damage.
Now it's like it's going to be pretty easy to take that thing out. Quite unless you're only just level 60. But if you've been at 60 for a bit, you're good.
So being one of the few people that have had 600 wood on them during an Outpost Rush match, I can tell you that this one is actually really good to have. Outpost Rush gatherables no longer have a weight, meaning you can carry as much of them as you want. That's not bad. If you wanna sit there and just cycle through the ore over and over and over again, you do you. Like, it ain't gonna fill up.
This next one is going to be interesting, though.
More, juicy target to take out. So Baroness Haynes has been changed. The ice mines now slow a player for 30 seconds. Or
by 30%.
By 30% for 3 seconds. Sorry. Instead of staggering the player, 30 seconds would be insane. I bet.
30 seconds would be ridiculous. Like, somebody fat fingered that to be 30 seconds, not 3 seconds. Oh shit.
Yeah.
No, but 30% is actually quite a significant slow, to be completely honest, even if it's only for 3 seconds. But 3 seconds is a long time when you're fighting people. Like 3 seconds can feel like an age, let alone 30. Let's be real. And obviously, if you're slowed for 3 seconds by 30%, you're more susceptible to people who have high alpha from bows, for example.
Hey, look, bows! You just got a buff. It's situational, but it's a buff.
Mm-hmm.
So from here,
I mean, it's not just the bow, but
These next couple of things are probably the most influential changes to Outpost Rush.
Really?
The first being water can no longer be gathered in Outpost Rush.
Has that been a big issue? Because I don't feel like that's been a big issue. Oh, okay.
That one.
I was like, what?
That one impacts like the one person who forgot to bring any kind of pots and is super low level. And like is having trouble killing stuff, and it's realizing like their only way to heal is to get water. So like there's 5 guys out there who are like dramatically impacted by the inability to get water. But okay,
this next one, though, I believe
that is also tied to the not people like finding ways of getting out of AFK kicks. So yeah.
Okay. That makes a bit of sense now.
Yeah. So the actual thing that people should know, like, this is the largest change, something that we have been suggesting on the show for 3 weeks, is that they have added 2 additional gate points to the sides of each team's spawns. This means that it is no longer a single choke point to get out of your base. If they've tri-capped you and pushed you all the way back to your base, you can now exit through the sides, through other ways, and it'll be very difficult to camp all 3 doors.
Yeah. Oddly enough, when
change.
Oddly enough, when people were able to get out of the spawn area, at least on one side of them, by jumping up to that area and then climbing over, that did basically give a kind of an advantage when the game has already started as well, by potentially allowing you to be able to get out if you basically being gate camped or spawn camped, whichever term you want to utilize. But yeah, obviously 2 additional gate points or 2 additional exit points from each team spawn is fantastic for dealing with that kind of that really horrible situation of being camped at that gate.
Yes.
It's not going to completely remove it, but you're going to have more options, which is great.
Yes. So, okay, these next 2 changes I refer to as basically the death of the pinball wizard here. So, increase
a good one,
the
actually.
cooldown on the Outpost Rush Brute's corrupted ball.
Nice.
They freaking spam this ball all of the time like crazy, and it just becomes just a chore to constantly dodge. We can talk more about the fact that you can dodge and still obviously be inside the ball, but as long as you hit dodge when it's rolling over you, you'll not get hit by it. That's a whole nother problem.
If it's coming at you, you can dodge forward towards it, and it will just roll straight over you. It's weird. Dodging in this game needs some work, AGS.
Yes.
In general.
Then from there, Outpost Rush Brutes will now be much less likely to use their corrupted ball spell when players are inside of the fort. So those 2 changes, its cooldown is greatly increased, and it's much less likely to actually roll that as its ability. The next thing that we can hope that they fix is the hitbox on this thing, so that it is not constantly blocking the entrance 100% with no way in.
It's weirdly long, the hitbox for that thing.
Yes.
I don't know whether they made it long because, to deal with connection issues or latency issues, but it shouldn't be that long. It's ridiculous.
I went with the pinball wizard one. I totally forgot that I could have gone with the Swedish chef one instead as the judge.
Oh yes, of course,
because he's obviously tossing a meatball. Either way,
I'm inclined to agree with Moria there that they probably need to remove the iframes from the dodging.
Yes,
because you're still a physical entity in the in the simulation, right? You should be hittable by things. It's just you're not in the same place that you were previously. So get rid of the iframes. There's no point. There's no reason for the iframes to be on a dodge.
Yeah. Your dodge needs to be meaningful in that you also need to choose to dodge the right direction.
Yeah,
not just true. That it occurred, but this is in a fight. If I'm fighting a polearm and he's pointing a stick at me, he's pointing his polearm straight at my chest, and I choose to dodge forward, and
then
the
you're
logic
an idiot.
There being, oh wait, I don't take any damage because I dodged, is just stupid. Because you've literally jumped
that is
into
actually so
a thrusting polearm.
That is very true. Like you know, just dodging shouldn't be, you know, the prerequisite to like getting out of damage or getting clear of damage. Like you should know where the damage is coming from and dodge another direction, right?
Yes. This will also make dodging with light armor and medium armor more meaningful, because you're going to be able to increase the distance away or increase the amount of dodge, you know, the total dodge distance to get out of something that's attacking you.
It also means that like
dodging away from shit, not directly into attacks. Like,
the other kind of interesting thing as well is it also means that heavy armor also has a bit more of a reason to be there, rather than everybody using, you know, aside from obviously heavy armor being used, say, in, you know, high level PvE for tanks, right? But like when it comes to sort of PvP, like instead of people choosing medium armor over heavy armor, like because you get more iframes, and you know, you can make the case of, you know, having the hearty perk to sort of give you more dodging, but obviously, you know, you're going to get one more dodge if you have that hardy, even if you go to medium over heavy. But if you're choosing heavy over, if you're choosing medium over heavy, then like just in general, if you're dodging around and you don't have iframes on that dodge, it also means that, you know, you're not dodging through AoE effects and like having the benefits of, you know, the iframes basically almost preventing you from taking damage from area of effect stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So it kind of also means that maybe if you want to be going through that kind of stuff, you might want to choose to use heavier armor, right? Rather than just because you won't be able to iframe through a whole bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, get rid of the iframe. Like get rid of the iframe from the dodge. I'm glad that Maria kind of you know, mentioned that. That's great. It's a really, really good. I don't see the downside to it. I honestly don't see the downside to it. So yeah,
absolutely.
Mad props to that suggestion, Maria the Chosen.
Yes. So one other thing, and this is really just to stick it to the guy who complained about the bow the last time. They fixed an issue where the bow concussion ultimate was applying to all attacks and not just headshots. So there's another nerf for you.
Yeah.
That's my polite way of saying bite me. Here's another one. Like, oh, all right. So here's some other kind of meaningful ones. People above 585 were experiencing an issue where gypsum casts were only giving 1 to their increase in expertise. This was not intended, and they've increased it back to a minimum of at least 2.
Yeah, if you thought you had issues getting 2, maybe 3 bumps at a time, A's, you know, spare some a thought for those people who are getting 1 after you know, grinding up to 580s, 585s.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for the sub, by the way. So cheers. the other thing here is that I honestly think that if they're going to add the Umbral upgrade system post the grind to 600 gear score, or 600 expertise, whatever they want to call it now, the reality is they need to increase the average bump substantially. 2 is not a meaningful number to increase that by. Like, it does not feel like you are accomplishing anything. It doesn't feel like you're achieving and that you're ever going to actually make it to 600 on one item, let alone all of them. You know, that's just how I feel about it. I'm sure, you know, I'm sure other people would be thrilled. And you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to make a poll.
Oh no, you and polls, like seriously, you're loving it. You're loving you very much like to poll the audience on this on various different things. I found, but hey, why not, right? Why the hell not? Should we go into some of the other notable fixes while you're doing that?
Yes. Do you want to start with the housing ones?
Yeah, we can go with that. Like, so basically, you guys are probably all, very not really aware that like housing tax changed quite a while ago. Essentially, housing tax had a 90% reduction, and then some things were changed around in order for. But essentially, that has caused some issues with money being sort of pseudo duplicated to some degree, and so they're going to be basically changing this. They're going to be making good the 90% housing tax reduction. That doesn't mean that like the housing tax that you've been paying is suddenly going to go up by 90%. Like it's going to be kind of like normalized back, to sort of something that is still going to be, fairly decent, fairly okay for you to sort of to deal with on the week by week basis. But the way that they've decided to word this is, for full context, once this patch goes live, the following conditions will be applied. As a make good for the players impacted by the server clock issues experienced on November 2021, we reduced the housing tax cost for all players by 90% based on the tax percentage set by companies that own the territories. We communicated that that we would revert those tax breaks in the future update, which is going to be, obviously they say now, but like obviously it's going to be when the PTR kind of actually is released. In the time the tax breaks have been active, however, is brought to light an imbalance in wealth disparity, which was punishing for homeowners, and as such, we have decided to tighten the housing tax band. We will continue to examine player reception and data around this issue. We are adjusting them going forward to be more fair for homeowners and companies. We're focused on evaluating and continually tuning the overall wealth distribution and impact of the territory tax system. So in the patch, the PTR, like a patch that's on the PTR at the moment, they've reverted the make good 90% housing tax reduction. They updated the housing tax minimum bands from 2.5% to 5%, the maximum band from 10% down from 20%, and updated the default housing tax to 5% down from 10%. So yeah, that's. I'm sure for a lot of people that will just be like a bunch of white noise. Essentially, I'm fairly certain that the housing tax is probably not going to change too much from sort of general house owners kind of perspective. Hopefully this, in terms of wealth distribution, it helps in some way, shape or form, but like I kind of feel that the wealth distribution in with regards to territories and stuff is still vastly out of whack, and I don't think that has anything really heavily to do with housing tax. So, but we'll see what this does. I kind of feel like it's not going to do too much, but at least it may break that whole like pseudo coin duplication because of the housing tax.
Yes.
I mean, that's the hope, really.
Yep. By the way, the poll's up right now, guys. Feel free to hit that in chat. It's asking how much average expertise per increase it feels meaningful to you. Like, if you got a bump, like, what would be something that actually feels like you're making progress? The person who hit to the person who hit 1, I respect the grind, but ouch.
You realize that because you said that, people are going to be picking that specifically just to annoy you. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. The people who choose 1 are specifically trolls, so like we can understand that. Although technically, I
By the way,
will
the
admit that I
minimum is
did choose
2 right
10.
now, guys, for the record.
Actually, no. I know exactly who those 5 are. I know exactly who those 5 are that have chosen 1 at least. They're the ones that are already at 600 or 590, whatever they are, and they have like a ton of like casts
nope,
ready to
keep
go.
Down there, keep down there.
Yep. I want my advantage for as long as I can keep it. Thank you very much.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, So going back to some of the other changes, aptitude rewards. They are removing Azoth vials from many of these. Not all of them, but many. This is going to make Azoth vials harder to get. They weren't intended to be like a crazy amount. And anybody who's done mass crafting and just pounded through their expertise levels, you realize that you have a near infinite supply of Azoth vials, and I think
I've got like 25 of them at the moment.
Yeah,
I've got like a stack of 25 or so.
Like,
because I've been smashing through armor and crafting at the moment.
So that's very much a needed change, and I actually appreciate that. So they fixed a couple of bugs as well. There was a rare circumstance where players under level 60 could get gypsum for darkness events. That wasn't intended. You do have to actually be level 60 to start earning gypsum. Like,
makes sense.
Yeah. I still think that the gypsum system needs some fixes because, as told, the way that it kind of works isn't ideal. I
think they need to be a little bit more intelligent in the cooldowns that they have.
I think they need to take the first 2 time gates off entirely. Like, you can generate as much gypsum as you want of the first type. If I want to play 15 rounds of Outpost Rush, I should get 15 ruby gypsum. If I want to craft and I've got time to craft and I'm want to pound through it, I can get 15 green gypsum, and then turn around and say you can make however many orbs as you want based on that, but you can only make 1 of each item type per day. That way you can make progression in the way that makes sense to you. Like, that would be my ideal change to the system.
I'm still kind of I'm still on the sort of I'm still kind of feeling the whole make X amount of casts, and then give you a cooldown that is up somewhere around about like the 6 days kind of mark. Because I do still feel like that system is punishing casual players who play on the weekend over hardcore players who are playing every day, and I think a lot of the backlash coming from this PTR patch is based around people who feel like, oh, I can't play every day and do all of this every single day, so I might as well not play. And encouraging and giving the game back to sort of people who don't play every day and only play on the weekend will bring obviously it's not going to bring a whole ton of people back every single day, but like it's going to bring more people back and feel like they can that playing the game, playing New World is something that's they're not going to be punished for doing only on the weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can do that without screwing over.
More would be better.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that without screwing over the people who play every day, because the people who play every day should still be able to do, make a cast every single day, and then on the 7th day, you can carry on making that cast because you don't hit that limit that basically says, okay, cool it for 6 days.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. So moving on, we got a bunch more changes to cover here too. So crafting, they fixed an issue where timeless shards were not being consumed while crafting. That's kind of a big one. Move right past all of the other ones. If you guys want to read the specifics, they're available on the patch notes here. Gear and loot.
I'll copy that.
They're fixing an issue where certain 600 gear score named items would increase your gear score beyond where it was expected to go. They also fixed an issue where the Lazarus bow had less dex than the other bows at its tier and gear score, so that's good. And they fixed an issue with one of the Wheel of Time skins.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, progression. This is a huge one for new players. They've sped up leveling for the mid-game levels for levels 23 through 45 by 20%. Saw that mid-game leveling was taking a bit longer and did not match pacing of the content that we had. So we sped it up the mid-game progression by 20%.
That is a welcome change. Even though I'm past that point, like I remember, that kind of 23 to 45 being, a bit of a slog. Let's put it that way.
All right. So 17 people felt that I'm sure some of these ones and twos were just memeing me, but 17 people still felt that 5 is the average expertise per increase that feels meaningful. I'll make sure to send that to a friend over at AGS and let them know that the ones who voted 1 and 2 are memeing me.
So right now, by the way, just for some transparency on this particular poll, I'm currently smashing through crafting because I feel like that's probably the best way for me to be able to make up the time compared to a lot of people who are already sort of fairly far on with the expertise stuff. So I put my hands up. I was the one who said 10 on that one.
Mm-hmm. So for clarity, honesty, and all of that, my current gear scores, I believe. So my actual weapons, because of course I've owned almost 600 gear score weapons the entire time, but my actual expertise levels are only at mid 520s and mid 530s, because I'm balanced increasing all of them, and I never did the
mine's a mixture of
before.
Yeah, mine's a mixture of 50, everything from 505 to 520s. That's why I'm doing the crafting. So yeah, that said, there's a reason that I want that to go a little quicker. I also think that leaving people behind by another 25 gear score points is going to be a challenge. So let's move on to the next huge news. Expedition tuning orbs. Materials used to craft expedition keys, chisels, corrupted fragments, shards, crystals, and lodestones are now tradable. That's a big one. That is a big one.
Yes. I've been fighting the fight to basically say, hey, this stuff needs to be tradable. There's no reason that I shouldn't be able to sell this to people. I think that this should extend to more things beyond that. I think that the things that are on cooldown should also be able to be put on the market. And that the cooldown should be used to limit the overall market overall market quantity, and not as a I have to get this to level 200, otherwise I can't do it. Apparently we're about to get hit with an ad from Twitch.
Yay!
So I apologize ahead of time here.
And that means absolutely nothing to the YouTube crowd that may watch this later on, but So we're gonna take 2.5 minutes here, because apparently it's a 2.5 minute ad. What the hell, Twitch?
And for those of our subs, we're gonna tread water and chat with you guys and have some fun. Because 2.5 minutes, come on.
Well, there was actually a question out there that there was a question from a first-time chatter actually about how long we've been playing. I
mean, we have thousands.
Well, we've been playing. We've been
multiple thousands.
Yeah, we've been playing since the closed alphas. So we've been helping as best as we can to to help with the development of the game. Obviously, a lot of things that get mentioned kind of don't get prioritized and then end up falling through, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of
I think a lot of what's been we have been involved in every playtest, every version of the alpha, every special testing event, and all of the creator events.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that I put down a fair amount of feedback. A lot of that seems to fall. A lot of that falls on deaf ears, or at least feels like it falls on deaf ears. But you never know. You never know until something actually happens with that. So, but that's that's kind of you have a very limited amount of power to affect change. Especially in a closed development situation, right? So, but I know that personally I have affected some degree of change, or at least I feel like I've affected some degree of change. I feel like to some degree the locking system was something that I helped, prioritize to actually be a thing that's in the game. But I can't 100% say that is because of me, because it could well not have been because of me. It could have just been something that they had thought about and wanted more sort of community sentiment about. You never know.
Yeah,
I know that you've also mentioned things and got sort of some stuff added to the game to some degree.
Yeah, we've definitely had. I can point to specific things that the problem is many of the things that I can point to I also can't point to because of the NDA. So I could openly say that there are many things that I believe that I've had a solid impact on. One of them, I firmly believe that I've had the impact on, hey, we need more gates for Outpost Rush. One's not going to work.
Yeah.
For the spawn points, I firmly believe that is something that we had a direct impact in, because that was something that I gave them directly as feedback. But over time we've had many things that have been added. So some other things about tuning orbs. Going back to that.
Yes. This
is actually there's a bunch of really good stuff here. Expedition Mutator tuning orbs can be crafted once per week, and also have been added to the faction shops, and can be purchased there once per week. Not currently in the PTR, but to keep parity with Expedition Mutator tuning orbs, normal Expedition tuning orbs for Dynasty Shipyard, Garden of Genesis, and the Lazarus Instrumentality, for some reason I keep messing that one up, have been added to the faction shops and can be purchased once per week. So that means there's going to be a surplus of orbs. That gives reasons to run faction missions, get the coins necessary, and go for it. I think that's a solid win, and for the many people that ground stone cutting, you're still going to have ways to make money. So,
that's great.
Yeah. So they reduce the cost of all items in inventory, taking durability damage on death We made a change so that now only bound items take durability damage on death. That is a great change.
That is a great change.
That is important. That also creates some options for people who have like consistently been failing a dungeon, to give them the opportunity to go, okay, I still have one weapon that works that dropped to the prior room. It's something.
Instances of that may be a little bit light, to be honest. If everything's broken and you're basically naked, you're probably not going to do that dungeon if you have failed several times.
I've been there. Last legs of all of my armor, and I've got one piece of weaponry that still has durability.
Although, in all honesty, weapons will reduce in durability before, they'll break before armor. So I could understand that. Like, having no weapon because all the ones that you generally tend to have used have broken, but you're down to that sliver of health on your armor. Yeah, I could understand that happening.
Yes. So they've also made some UI UX changes. Stuff in the store is going to show with the right symbols and right information so that you'll know that it's only up for a temporary amount of time or on sale or both. Trading post functionality's been increased slightly, dealing with the sort by time function having some issues. Inventory should no longer scroll back to the top after closing the sell window. Thank you. Whether you sell or cancel a trading post.
There was one of those things where, like, if you sorted by time, it would like sort it. It definitely wasn't time based. It definitely wasn't sorted by time, and they've indicated that in actual fact it was sorting it alphanumerically, which was really odd. So I'm glad that they've changed that.
Yes. So let's see from here. They fixed the issue where territories during a merger that owned more than one.
Companies that had more than one territory.
That owned more than one territory during a merge would be paid for all of the territories that they owned instead of just one. So that's fixed. I think we can assume that there's going to be some more merges coming if they're fixing stuff like that.
I think so.
They fixed an issue that sometimes caused corrupted breaches. Icons not to appear on the map. So that's a good one. For people that were constantly trying to avoid them, that's actually a really good one.
There's a server crash fix, actually. There's a fix to server crash that likely stemmed from territories abandoned by their governors. Like, who would do such a thing?
Definitely not.
But apparently that's a server crash. Yeah, but apparently that was crashing servers for whatever reason. So they fixed that, apparently.
Yeah. Let's see. They fixed another of other bugs here, but simply put, if you guys want to take a look at these patch notes, they're for the PTR, and I'm posting the link in chat. It's also in the Discord.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, so those are the PTR updates. That's the updates that they've done for the second update. The first update was obviously to update it to the PTR changes that had the mutators and the 650 gear score, or 625 gear score, not the 650. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Jesus. So this is the second round of patches of patch changes on top of that.
And those patches came out today.
Yes.
So today, 5 p.m., so a few hours ago. It is live now. The PTR is up and running. It's been running since, I believe, before the show actually started.
Yep.
So that is good news. Let's talk a little bit about... I'm curious. Yeah. This one, I'm curious to see what people's reaction is. So this last weekend, there was an issue where somebody reported what looked to be a dupe.
Yeah.
However, and AGS reacted, hey, if this is a dupe, we need to stop this from happening. So they temporarily disabled player-to-player trading while they investigated the problem. This turned out to just be a UI bug, and it was kind of a false alarm, like, okay, everybody, like, drills over, don't worry about it, type event. But
I think it still caused some people to get PTSD, though.
Yeah, there were definitely some people that got some PTSD, and there's a definite moment of you shouldn't believe everything you see on the internet, where there was an entire thread of people when this was announced that went, oh, I've totally seen this happening, it's 100% a thing, it's guaranteed, like, I've watched companies do this, they're all duping, and it's about time they fix this. And the reality is that all of those people were full of shit. Welcome to running a subreddit. Like,
yes, it's like, look, I've duplicated
a large
stuff,
number of people, and I'm okay with it.
But essentially, what this was it was a UI bug. It wasn't actually, like, it sort of showcased, so it showcased what people thought was a duplication, but in actual fact, if you I think it was something along the lines of, if you logged out then logged back in, that the duplication, or the amount that you duplicated, had suddenly vanished because it was actually a UI bug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
go figure.
Now here's the question that I have for chat. Obviously, hindsight being 2020 here, would you rather that Amazon react progressively and overwhelmingly in the event that something is reported to them that has a credible threat to the game, or would you rather that they take their time and make sure that it's a problem first? Like, if all signs are leading to this is a problem, and, like, we should stem the tide now, would you prefer that they go live with a, hey, let's disable player trading for a few hours to ensure that this is a thing? Or do you have them wait a couple of hours, potentially causing mass damage to the game in terms of, like, marketplaces, and, like, there's a lot of cleanup that has this.
No, with regards to like a duplication exploit specifically.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better that? So yeah, just sound off in chat if you feel that it's better for AGS to be preventative, like to be proactive and preventative by disabling stuff, or wait until they figured out a fix and then don't change things in game, but then come out with a fix, with a patch. Because I don't know, yeah, I kind of feel like proactive is definitely better. If people get PTSD, then they can deal with that. But making sure that duplications don't harm the game is, this is my personal feeling anyway. Like, preventing duplication from running away, and causing shitloads of damage, is my preference.
Yeah. For instance, like, we had we know for sure that an individual delivered a exploit to Amazon that is currently being resolved, that's actually caused them to take down new player creation, or new character creation. Now some of these things are obviously, like, easier to test. Some of them it's not super easy. But yeah, like, I think chat, we've basically all are on kind of the same page here. It's better to be proactive and like if it means you can't trade for 4 hours while they fix it, or while they like determine that, hey, this actually isn't a problem, like I'm in that ballpark of like I would prefer them to just turn off trading, tell us, hey, like we've had a report of this, like they did where we're investigating a potential gold duplication bug. Hey,
yeah, but
it's 4 hours. Like, sure, it could be 4 hours in the middle of somebody's play session, but I think that's 4 hours that, for the health of the game, is best served to not have duplicated gold circulating through the market.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the sentiment that Zealand Roll has said in chat is very, very important as well. AGS needs to make sure that they communicate what's going on. Communication is very, very important with the player base, because otherwise we get like very conspiratorial and we always go with the worst. We come up with possibilities, and our brains always generally tend to sort of pick the worst possibility.
Yes.
And you don't want that. You don't want players going around with conspiratorial theories on why you've done something, because we'll always choose the worst one. It's just it's just the nature of mankind. It's the nature of human beings.
Yes. So one of the other things, in our last topic for today, or one of our last topics for today, is the movement bug that continues to ruin wars and on occasion Outpost Rush. Is not only on their radar, it is something that is actively trying, that they're actively trying to fix. I know that that's not something that, like, a post from 5 days ago is overly reassuring on, but so for those that don't know, Kay is actually the release manager. So like when Kay says something's gonna be in a patch, like Kay is the authoritative figure on that. And thanks for the sub, by the way.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So like Kay's whole job is actually to manage like the process of like what's actually going to make it into each patch. So it's a very, very difficult job, because you're juggling a lot of different things. So yeah, wanted to make sure to cover that. I want to take a moment. I want to thank, obviously the people who have subscribed to the stream. Thank you guys. I want to, for the ton of you guys that hit the follow button. If you haven't hit that follow button, please do. So that the next time that we're coming on live. I want to thank our Patreons. I want to thank our Discord Nitro boosters. And frankly, I just want to thank everybody for being here. It's a good time. We enjoy it. We have a good time with everything that we do with the show. We are going to be expanding our content coverage. We're not leaving New World, but we are going to be expanding our content coverage to also be covering Lost Ark. So if you guys are looking forward to any Lost Ark content, make sure to hit that follow button, and we'll be there on lunch, or prior to launch day, because we actually have early access 3 days prior to launch day. So it's going to be a good time.
Because we threw money at the problem. Yes,
we threw money at that problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're looking forward to it. And of course, but certainly not least in terms of people to thank before we wrap up for the night, is nwdb.info, New World Database. Our amazing partners who help us dramatically increase our discoverability on Twitch, and provide a meaningful meaningful audience over on their site, as well as the great services that they provide to the community by running their just frankly awesome site that does everything that you could want it to do.
Yeah,
if you haven't checked it out, make sure to.
It genuinely has some of the best tools available to new players of New World, you know, and the database is amazing. Like, it's accurate, it is concise, it gives you all the information that you want and none of the information that you don't care about. Like, so it's great.
Absolutely. So
definitely check it out. It also has a map, and it's got probably one of the best maps out there as well. So check that out as well.
It has a map that you can look up specific items that tell you, hey, okay, here's the boss that you need to kill that drops this.
And the thing that I really like. You know the thing that I really like about the map on nwdb.info?
What's that?
When you open that map, it doesn't populate everything that could possibly be on the map as a default. Like, it starts off with like a blank map, and it's like, here's the map, what things do you want on the map, click them to turn them on. It's not like, here is every single thing in all of the categories on the map. It's like, no, I hate that. Like, that's one of the things I hate about like some of the other maps that I've tried. Like, the fact that it loads the map in and not everything that could potentially be on the map. Like, but you still have those in categories, so you can go and choose and figure out what you want to see, what you don't want to see. But yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So with that, as we always love to say, we'll see you guys in the new world.